Okay.
All right, welcome everyone. I'm here live from the Cleves Law Library in downtown Portland, trying to comply with our public access mask wearing. I appreciate you all joining us today. I understand that we are kind of in conflict with our legal year in review program that started this morning. Can you hear me all right, Angela?
I can hear you, but you are a little scratchy.
All right, I apologize. Apparently I have a connection issue, it says on my computer. Briefly, we know that District 5 is starting to implement its e-filing system through starting right now with its managing of cases in the categories listed on our slide. I believe it's on November 30th where they're going to start accepting e-filing of cases through the portal. We'll get more information on that as the launch continues today. And let's see, and then also, of course, we have updates affecting us right through Thanksgiving regarding how we need to quarantine if we don't get a negative test 72 hours before we enter the state of Maine. Keep that in mind. How am I doing, Angela? Okay, good. And then we've got some announcements about rapid drive-through testing. There's also an announcement too that I received over the weekend related to United Airlines. For those flying into the Portland Jetport, they may have rapid tests that they give right then. So airports are also implementing rapid tests for our upcoming Thanksgiving holiday. All right, with that, I wanted to introduce, we have two guest speakers today, both of course with not near enough time to talk about what it is they do, but our first guest is Liz Stout. She is the current acting VLP director, and she's joining us today to talk a bit about what it is that VLP does for those of us that might have forgotten, and what immediate needs they may have at VLP. And Liz comes from a long background of family law and guardian ad litem work, and we are happy to have her here with us. Liz, take it away.
Great, thank you, Thad, very much. I appreciate the chance to join you today and just let people know what's going on with the Volunteer Lawyers Project these days. As you probably know, our leader and founding executive director, Juliette Holmes-Smith, unexpectedly passed away this summer after a brief illness. And I joined the Volunteer Lawyers Project in September to take the tiller, so to speak, and hopefully get the programs back up and running. Because of course that happened in the middle of the pandemic, and our legal services, the legal services that are provided through the Volunteer Lawyers Project, a lot of them were provided in person through our various clinics. And so we've been working over the past several months to get those legal clinics on a remote platform. So you may recall, I mean, Volunteer Lawyers Project has its primary program, which is full representation, where folks who need an attorney and do not have the means to afford one, in many circumstances, we can accept their case and place them with a full representation pro bono attorney in a variety of areas. But we also, the Volunteer Lawyers Project also has many other programs that have been operational. Most impactful has been the Family Law Courthouse Assistance Project. We operated in 10 different courthouses prior to the pandemic and served literally thousands of people to get advice about family law matters. We've relaunched that program on a Zoom platform. We are operating now 2 days a week and expect to go to 3 in December. So folks can access that resource by email. They can email us at intake@vlp.org. But importantly to the main bar, we can now have volunteers anywhere in the state that can serve people with legal needs anywhere in the state. So there's actually a silver lining here that we can reach rural areas. Thank you, Angela. We can reach rural areas in some ways a lot easier than we have in the past. We are always open to volunteers to join our Family Law Courthouse Assistance Project program. You can contact me directly, and that is estout at vlp.org, and I'd be happy to connect you. We also run programs that have gone virtual at this point with the small claims program will be going virtual in January. We have a program for folks who are hospitalized at Acadia who have legal needs to connect them with pro bono lawyers. And that is an excellent program that could also use some assistance. We have a workers' rights clinic in the Portland area that is dealing with employment issues, and that is going live this week. We have a clinic for individuals experiencing homelessness to address their legal needs, and we connect them with volunteer lawyers for a consultation. And we also have the Free Legal Answers Maine, which you may have heard of. It's an online portal. Any Maine attorney can join, freelegalanswersmaine.org, and you can go on and people post questions, and you can go on and answer questions for people in a wide variety of on legal issues. Thank you again, Angela. Those are programs that all have the opportunity to do limited legal representation. So if you are not sure you want to take on a whole case and take on a client and bring the case to closure, you can certainly provide very valuable needed assistance on a limited basis by volunteering for any of these legal clinics that we have. And we would certainly appreciate your support. Just briefly, I wanted to let you know about a couple other things that the Volunteer Lawyers Project is working on. We have a program called the Mead Fellowship, named for Acting Chief Justice Andrew Mead, where we have a group of brand new lawyers who have been awarded this fellowship. We provide training and support to them for the year of their fellowship, and then hopefully can have them join our ranks of volunteers to understand the importance of this pro bono work going forward. And finally, we also have a program to specifically address domestic violence. We have a panel of attorneys that are providing support to folks seeking a protection from abuse order. We have a panel that is providing some defense work to folks against whom protection from abuse order has been filed. So we're happy to be resuming and expanding those services even during the pandemic. Angela and Thad, thank you so much for the opportunity to give this information to the bar. And again, I welcome any questions, comments, or other information that people would like about our programs. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Liz. I just wanted to, I guess, foot stomp one of the things that you had talked to me about when you visited at one point was the need for even probate attorneys related to people being able to secure the assets that they thought were theirs, et cetera. And that's still one of your strong needs?
It is. It's a big need. And coming into this job, I was surprised. I did not realize the numbers of people that needed that kind of assistance. If they have a relative, family member, loved one who has died, and they don't know what to do with the property, and they need some guidance and assistance. So if people can do just a consultation, would be very, very helpful. And, you know, it may be that you have ideas about how they could manage their case going forward, But even if you are just willing to have this one meeting with someone to give them direction, it would be very, very valuable. So thank you.
Thank you, Liz. Is there any other questions for Liz right now? And just so you know, while I'm talking here, if there is not, you can always send them in later and we can forward them to Liz Stout. And with that, Liz, thank you for taking over a very important project for Maine. And Liz, you're welcome to stay on with us if you'd like. I'm not sure what your schedule allows, but we're going to move on, if we could, to the next guest speaker we have, which is Mark Bassingthwaighte. I'm worried that I just did terrible things to your name, Mark.
Okay.
But Mark comes from a long history in risk management at the ALPS organization, which is, you know, an insurance company that offers professional liability insurance here in Maine for a lot of our attorneys, and also writes for us in the Maine Bar Journal on a fairly regular basis. And Mark, with that, I would like it if you could touch upon some of the risk issues that you've been seeing during our COVID-19 pandemic.
Yeah, and thank you for having me. I want to start just by sharing some thoughts on what, in terms of the industry, what are we concerned about, and I'll weave in a little bit what we're seeing in light of the economic consequences of the pandemic, the shutdowns. We really are in a sort of recession model here. And we're going to see, we're preparing in terms of the industry again for a spike in claims over the next 3 years, in terms of that's what normally tends to happen. And it'll take us about 5 years to settle back down. So we're going to see some increase in terms of frequency and severity. And that's pretty much baked in at this point. Some of the what drives some of this, we're concerned about businesses going south. Look at all the small businesses that are going into bankruptcy and never going to return. And so it's not uncommon when business dealings go south that, the finger of blame gets pointed at lawyers. We are concerned that staff and lawyers are going to make mistakes that otherwise not would have been made in light of this rapid transition into the work from home setting, and we are already seeing a few claims here. Most of them are deadline problems. We had somebody get sick with COVID in terms of a staff member, and the lawyer thought that the papers were filed, and they were not. He just was running with an assumption and just no checking. So we're seeing these mistakes starting to come in now. I mean, normally it takes, there's delay in malpractice. It doesn't just happen right away, but these deadlines are the early kinds of things we're struggling with. Stress is a concern. Both clients and staff and lawyers, given all that's going on again, we are not at our best in terms of stress. So we have some concerns about that. And pay, the ability to pay is another problem that we're seeing. That's not necessarily malpractice yet. How that we anticipate playing is there's a concern that we'll see an increased aggressiveness, perhaps, in trying to collect fees that are due. But if there's an inability to pay, and that obviously is going to be a significant problem here, you're kind of forcing people into counterclaims. They just don't have any other option, and that can be very, very problematic. those are kind of the risks. Again, we're not seeing a whole lot. I'd share a couple of thoughts from how to manage some of this. I do encourage you to prioritize wellness more than ever. It's been a very significant problem in our profession for years and years and years, but it now is just front and center. Supervision, we strongly encourage firms to of every size to think about, again, when we have a lot of people working from home, how are we going to supervise? And I kind of weave that into an accountability problem. How are we going to adapt or adjust our processes so that we don't have these calendaring missteps? How do you verify that something got done? So we need to make sure that the processes and procedures that we had internally when we were in a traditional firm setting are still effective and still in play. So there are a couple of thoughts. I want to take that malpractice piece now and kind of set it to the side and share another very, very significant concern, and I think is really absolutely front and center right now, and it's cybersecurity. The rapid transition to working from home, which needed to occur, was by businesses of all shapes and sizes. This is not limited to law firms, but really, we had to get home, we had to make things work, and security became an afterthought. So I really do have some concerns about that. Home systems are being targeted much more aggressively. People tend to get casual at home. We treat our personal devices, in other words, a little differently. We don't see them quite. We just don't have the same sense of, because we're at home, that our radar perhaps isn't as strong. And the industry is really set to deal with some major cybersecurity breaches as people start to return to work, because these things are being infected and they're waiting for opportunities. So I really strongly encourage you to make sure that VPNs are in use at home, that all personal devices and home computers are current with patches and security updates, that we don't allow friends and family on home computers that are being used for work, that kind of thing. And something just to be aware of, many people, in terms of businesses of all shapes and sizes, to include law firms, have cyber liability insurance in place. If you don't have it, boy, I'd strongly encourage you to. But here's one of the rubs that most people don't realize. Cybersecurity policies cover devices that a law firm owns or leases, is in control of. So if a breach occurred on a home computer, doesn't ever get to the network, your cyber policy is not going to respond and deal with that. So just be aware. It's one of these sort of trap, gotcha kinds of things that we just aren't thinking about. I just want to get that on everybody's radar. Maybe a couple of quick, for another minute here, a few risk tips. Don't dabble. We are seeing a little bit of this in quick jump shifts. I'm not making a lot of money in this area, but bankruptcy is going to be hot, so I'm going to jump to bankruptcy, but I have no idea what I'm doing in bankruptcy. We've already seen these jump shifts. I think more than ever, take time to determine that people can afford your services. Documenting scope is more important than ever. Again, be careful about aggressive collection practices. We really need to stay up. And I like what I saw this morning, talking a little bit about what's happening in Maine. We need to make sure everybody is up to date on the changes that are occurring in relevant rules, regulations, laws, et cetera. And we need to prioritize informing our clients of the legal ramifications of the changes that are occurring. So that's a quick 10-minute rundown. I'm happy to answer any questions or chat. And Angela, please feel free to put up my email address as well. It's mbass@alpsinsurance.com. I'm happy to answer questions or concerns at any point. You do not need to be an Alps insured to visit with me. So if there's something I can do to help any of you in these crazy times, please don't hesitate to reach out. So that's a quick rundown.
Mark, thank you. And I'm going to put you on the spot.
Okay.
So we'll see how you do with this while someone else comes up with a question. So, so you noticed that in the state of Maine, we are starting to transfer our manual paper system at the courthouses to e-filing. It starts right up today with being able to access cases. From what I understand, I haven't done anything in District 5 for a while. And then we're going to be expected to do all of our filing for these special cases here that are listed starting on November 30th.
Okay.
So I'm sure that you get involved with other states and attorneys that are in an e-filing system, such as our federal system, of course, is e-filing. But are there things in particular that we should be aware of or pay special attention to as we transition to an e-filing system?
Well, I think it's the basics in my mind that immediately come to mind. I want to make sure, for instance, that you have confirmation that the filing has been received, it's so that we are documenting that everything's been done. But what I get most concerned about is, in light of these kinds of transitions, we still have an affirmative duty to maintain client confidences, right, under the rules. So if we're using Wi-Fi from home or from the office to do this kind of stuff, have we taken steps to secure the data when it is in motion? So in other words, use a virtual private network, a VPN. I would prefer that you not use Wi-Fi in terms of open, public, unsecured Wi-Fi, but that is exactly what we often have in place at home. We've not even changed the default passwords on our home routers, and you can get those things in seconds. It's very, very insecure. So I would want to focus on making sure that the communication channel is properly secured. Again, VPNs, changing default passwords on home routers, etc. So that's where I would start.
Angela, any questions come in on your end? No? Okay. Well, Mark, I really appreciate you joining us here. One of the things, of course, we're all experiencing are what you commented on, the changes that COVID-19 has brought to ourselves, our offices, and e-filing on top of that. So I appreciate your thoughts that you've given us in our bar journals as well.
Well, you're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. And with that, you're welcome to stay on, Mark, if you'd like. We have just a few moments that we're going to share with the rest of our business slide. Angela?
Yes. Thank you to both Liz and Mark for joining us today. We really appreciate it. For business side updates, we will not be holding Bar Talk next week, week of Thanksgiving. We assume a lot of you will be otherwise engaged, so we're gonna forgo Bar Talk, but we'll be back on, I believe it's November 30th. We have extended our date for CLE proposals for the Winter Bar Conference to December 4th. Please send in your submissions. This is the last week, if you are in District 3, which is Cumberland County, that you can vote for 2 seats on the Board of Governors. So please, I will be sending out a reminder this afternoon on that too, to those folks in Cumberland County. So if you haven't voted yet, look out for look out for that email. And finally, as Thad mentioned earlier, legal year in review is underway. It started this morning at 9 a.m. There's another session this afternoon at 1:30, and then Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday of this week, we have anywhere from 2 to 4 sessions on each of those days. You can still register, I believe, for those. So please go online and register. And if you are registered, please understand that we're doing that through our InReach platform. You were sent instructions on how to get online. It is not through Zoom. So don't try to get on to Legal Year in Review through Zoom. And I think that's all I have right now.
All right, hi, back here. So there was something I checked on that I thought you'd all be interested in, and that was, it appears that the main bar exam that was given on September 30th and October 1st has had results posted by exam number on the main Bar of Examiners website. I did check at 08:55 this morning, and as of that time, they had not listed the names of those people that have passed. It did say that the names would be listed by today. So we expect that to come out soon. And also, hey, we still get to watch our football on the weekends. That's somewhat normal, or brings us to normalcy. And it was nice to see the Patriots have a decent game last night. And with that, we plan on seeing you all on November 30th. Any alibis, Angela? All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. And we'll see you on November 30th.